We have seen multiple people who start from zero, but within 2 years, 3 years, they become multi-millionaires and start earning in crores. What do we actually tell them is they have got luckier or they might have got some jackpot. It is not because of actually jackpot or luck, it is because of a term called leverage. And what does it actually mean? So I went and asked Google, and Google gave me this particular answer. So leverage means the act of using a lever to lift or open something. So why do we actually use a lever to lift water from a well? We use it to save our time, energy and effort. In the same way, leverage means getting more output for whatever input we put in. To make it much more simpler, I today invest 4 hours of hard work. There's another person who invests same 4 hours of hard work, but he is able to generate more output than me. How is he able to do it? It is because of leverage. There are actually 4 levels of leverage. It's like a pyramid, and the bottommost level consists of people, and the next consists of capital, next consists of content, and then comes the highest form of leverage, which is known as code. Let me explain all these things in detail. Leveraging through people means you use other people's time to make your tasks done so that you can save your own time. To take a very simple example, let us take the example of a civil engineer. In case if he needs to construct a building all by himself, he plans the building, he puts a design, and then he comes to the site and constructs the building brick by brick. But we don't actually do that because it will take enormous amount of time for him to complete one task, and he cannot do multiple projects at the same time. But what we actually do is employ people who can make our tasks done. People construct building, and what the engineer do is to manage people. That's it. And he works on multiple projects at the same time. He works on 4 to 5 projects at the same time so that he can earn more profit. And then comes leveraging through capital. What does leveraging through capital mean? Capital means there's someone who gives you 100% of the money to do something, and you use that money to build something, and after a couple of years you return that money to the investor along with some amount of interest. But even after returning, you have enormous amount of value which you have created. Take the example of a startup. I have a startup idea, and there's some investor who invested in my startup. So I use that capital amount to build my startup, and within 5 years my startup becomes extremely successful, and I return that particular amount back to the investor in the form of 10x or 100x returns. But even after returning, I hold enormous amount of value. I did not even invest a single penny into my startup, but still I hold value. And this is known as leveraging through capital. You use other people's money to build something, but even after returning their money back to them, you still hold enormous amount of value from it. So next is leveraging through content. So what does leveraging through content actually means? Take an example of any famous YouTuber who's generating revenue through YouTube. So he today publishes a video by investing in 6 to 7 hours of his time into that particular video. But there is going to be people who are going to watch that video even after 5 years, even after 10 years. So many of us would have watched videos that was posted 7 years back, 5 years back. The person who posted it might have invested around 6 to 7 hours of his time and effort into that particular video once, and it is still generating him revenue even after 5 to 6 years. Is it not really worth it? It is totally worth it because the hard work and time which you have invested once is generating revenue continuously for 5 to 10 years. And when you follow this type of leverage, it is known as leveraging through content. Most YouTubers follow leveraging through content because whatever videos I publish today, even after 5 to 10 years, it might generate revenue for me, but I still don't care about that video. And the highest form of leverage comes through leveraging through code. I today write a piece of code, and that becomes enormously successful and useful to multiple people, and it starts generating millions of revenue for me. That is what happens with all technological companies such as Zomato or Ola, where Dipendra Goyal or Bhavish Agarwal wrote a piece of code, and that code is generating today millions of revenue for them. They have also employed multiple forms of leverage, such as they also employ people, they have investors who invested in their startup, but still that's that one piece of code that has given them a lot of value today. And whenever you build something by employing multiple levels of leverage, you have higher chance of achieving success in a very faster way than others. That's why the very big technological company still follow other forms of leverage, such as they employ people, they have capital, they also produce content, and there's much more things which they actually follow. So if there's someone who comes and tell you that these people become successful because of luck or some jackpot kind of thing, you tell them it's not because of luck or jackpot, but it's because of a term called leverage. Even if you follow it, even if I follow it, we can become successful in a very short period of time. So think about this, and I'll meet you in the next video. Bye bye.